Hello everyone, welcome back to my third live video as of today. I feel like I'm hanging out with all of you all day here. Really awesome to have a virtual kind of company with me. Love it. In this live, we are going to make two cards. In the one before it, if you didn't join for the previous video, we colored this little koala, this little guy right here. You can scroll down on the page and watch the replay. The video is going to stay on our page. And in this live, we're going to make two cards. The first one is the shaker card, the square card, and then this simple card right here. These are quick to make, and this is what I was trying to do to have. Well, first of all, the image that we're using, this little koala, is really fast to color and really fun, so there's no stress there at all, just having fun adding little color. And the cards are really quick to make too, so if you are trying to keep in touch with your friends and family, sorry, losing my voice again, I told you, like if I talk a lot like that, I just have tendency of losing my voice. Keeping some water here with me. So these are quick cards to make, and I'm going to be using our paper, our dies, and of course this cute koala image. If you don't have exact dies right now, I'm so sorry, you can substitute, use different embellishments for your cards, or if you would like to make this exact cards and you don't have supplies right now, you can go on our website, lalalandcrafts.com. We are open. We're open for business in our online store. You can shop with us 24/7, and we ship every day. So we are not closed for business. We are shipping your orders. We're trying to get your orders as fast as you can. I'll go along and I'll show you all of the supplies that we're using. I'll mention them, and then when our live is over, I'll add the links on the video description. So if you need to come back for your reference, the links are going to be there for you. So we're going to start, as I mentioned, we're going to start with this square card. And in the last video, I give you all the dimensions. So if you have layers pre-cut, you'll be able to follow along. If not, you can watch it later again. So I'm going to put my card here so we can see what we're making. Our card base is 11 by 5.5, and I'm going to grab my scoreboard here. This is my new scoreboard from Caterpillar. You probably know that's Caterpillar, so you can see it here. You probably know that's my favorite cutter from Caterpillar company, but now they have the scoring board as well, and I really enjoy it. It has different things here, I'll show you later, but the tool is stored right there, and there are two different ways you can use it, but right now, just for the ease of it, I'm sorry, I'm going to just use this side and gonna score this at 5.5 right here. Going to put it to the side. My bone folder. So I'm going to use my bone folder, kind of like spreading butter kind of motion on each side to create nice and crisp fold. Then I have a layer of the red cardstock, and it's 5 1/8 by 5 1/8. And then I have a layer of the printed paper, and this is, hope you can see it here, 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. I'm using our paper Love You More paper pack, and the papers are 6 by 6. I could have cut it a little bit larger, but I decided this is all it's gonna show, so no reason to waste any more paper. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this. I'm gonna use my adhesive runner. And this goes in the center of my red layer right here. And I can go ahead and glue this onto the front of my card. Center it right here in front. Like so. So the next thing, I'm going to grab my acetate, and this is clear acetate and it measures 5 by 5. I'm going to put it on the piece of paper so you can see what I'm doing, and I can see what I'm doing. It kind of blends with my mat right here. Susie said that she doesn't have 3 of the dies. I'm sorry, but I know there's always something else. And I'm going to grab these layers, and these are cut with our Build a Frame die, and it's the die that looks, hold on a second, let me grab it right here. It looks like this. It comes as a set of 2 sizes, and this one is called Stitched Build a Frame Large. There's also the same design but in the smaller size, and I used is the smaller one of these 2, and I die cut 4 from the white cardstock and 4 from chipboard. And if you don't know, we have a chipboard that's available on our website as well. I'm going to keep this open for you if you need to see lalalandcrafts.com. It's in the section where it says craft supplies. If you go there, there's a craft chipboard. So I'm going to first, before attaching them to my acetate, I'm going to glue my white layers on top of chipboard, and this is just to make them losing my voice, and this is just to make them thicker, to make them stand out on card more. And I'm not offsetting them, I'm just gluing it on top just to make it thicker. See, like when I put it down, you can already even see the difference between one with the chipboard and one with just the die cut paper. I think it makes a huge difference. If you don't have a chipboard, or if you decide to skip that step, there's nothing wrong with that. It will just look a little different. So putting adhesive here and just gluing the white ones on top, lining it up on top of my chipboard. I'm so happy you're taking time from your day to hang out with me here. Makes me happy. Feel like I'm hanging out with you. It's more fun to craft with friends, right? Okay, and my last one now. Thank you, Paula. Paula said that chipboard makes a huge difference. I agree, yes. Thank you, Susie. Susie said the same thing. I found that was like a happy accident once. We used to use this chipboard just for other things, and it was on my craft desk, and I die cut with it, and our dies cut so clean through this thickness of the chipboard. It's awesome. So now I'm going to build my frame, and this is how it's going to be lined up. Well, the die called Build a Frame, so that's what the purpose of this die is. See how awesome it is? So it just creates this really cute frame with the mitered corners, and it has stitching on it, so it creates really nice effect. Barbara said it's like being in Pacifica at our retreat. It's almost like that. It's awesome. So now I'm going to add adhesive on the back of my chipboard and line it up. It's 5 inches long, so I'm just going to center it and line it up on the top of my acetate. I'm just taking my time, making sure it lines up correctly. And if you are crafting with me, I think Barbara is crafting. That's so awesome. And I'm going to line it up right in the corner there, and line up with the side of my chipboard, and keep on finishing all 4 sides. And I like using dry adhesive, especially on the acetate, because if you use liquid glue, it has tendency to run, and then it might smudge on the acetate there, and then it's hard. It's almost impossible to clean from the acetate. So dry adhesive works the best for this. Okay, lining up this. And it looks like I have just a little bit of the acetate. You probably can't see it on the video. On the side, just like 1/16 of an inch. So I'm gonna grab my scissors and just carefully trim that off. If that happened to yours as well, you can do that too. Or if you're better at lining it up, you might not have this, but it's an easy fix. So here you go. That is done. Now I have a little square, little white square, and this was die cut with the double stitched square die. This die right here, and this is the largest size. There's also a smaller one here that I have cut out, but I used the second largest one right here. So I didn't use this die because that would give me frames. I used a separate die, so that gave me this square, and it also has stitching on the outside. So that goes right in the center here, and everything, the stitching matches, so it's really, really pretty. If you don't have the square die, if you don't have the die with the stitching, and if you don't want to wait until you get it, you can order it online with us. We have it in stock. But if you're making the card right now and if you don't have the double stitched one, it's the size of it is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, so you can just cut the white layer instead 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. That's the size of this, and I'm going to go ahead and glue it right in the center of my acetate layer with the frame. Keep on putting layers on the card. I want you to see what we're making. So that goes right here. Now we're going to make this as a shaker card. So I'm going to turn my layer upside down so you can see your chipboard size there. And I'm going to grab my foam tape, and this is 1/2 inch tape right here. So I'm going to add it to all 4 sides. And 1/2 inch, as you can see, fits right in the center of the die cut, and it doesn't extend one way or another, so it looks nice and clean. And I'm going to keep on going around and make sure there is no spaces between your tape here, because that's the shaker, so we don't want sequins or whatever little things you're going to put on the inside, you don't want them to come out. Going to close it all the way. And my last one here. Trying to line it up so I don't have any space in between. Well, got a little bit space right there, but it's like 1/16 of an inch, so I don't think anything will fall out from there. If you cut shorter and there's a bigger space, you can just cut a little tiny piece and fill it in. So now on my first card, the card that I made a couple of days ago, what I did, I filled in this square also with the foam tape, so my sequins don't fall behind it. And I'm going to do the same on here. If you would like just to keep it all open, you can skip this step. Well, yeah, I'll do it this way so I can show you. It's a little bit, I wouldn't say difficult, but it's a little harder to put the sequins in the spots where they need to go, because we only have that open area. But it's not that difficult, so it's still very doable, but you can do, I'll show you how I did it, and then you can decide which way you want to do it. So I'm just closing this area so my sequins don't have like waste of, not stickles, the sequins. Did I say stickles? Sequins. So I'm closing this. Little piece there. I'm going to add a little bit right there where I cut shirt. And then I add just 2 little pieces on the center because I like my layers to be nice and even, so it doesn't sink in the center there. So now I'm going to bring my card base, and it's square right now, so it doesn't really matter which way this turned. It's a square, and I'm going to position it on my red layer, and I'm kind of going to eyeball where my openings are. And I find this is the easiest way to do the shaker. Instead of putting the sequins like this and then trying to close it, it's impossible to see to keep it straight. There are ways to do it with, like, you can put it on the grid and measure where it goes, but for me personally it's easier way to do it like this. So I'm going to put sequins on all 4 sides where my spaces are. So like on the top, oops, that's too much, I'm gonna spread it. So on the top, on the sides, and on the bottom. If you didn't close this square, you can just dump the sequins in the center like this, and that's all you need to do. But because I closed my center and I want my sequins just to go on the perimeter where the open areas are, this is the reason I am doing it this way. So I'm going to separate them and have them on the sides. So on the sides, the top, the other side, and the bottom. And you can decide if you want to add more or if you want to do less, if you want to have just the sequins, or if you want to add other things to it, like little, what do you call them? The things that you use in jewelry. Running out of words. So I'm going to line it up like this, and then, or maybe a little more on this side, and then I'm going to use my card front as a reference to kind of double check and triple check myself, make sure nothing is overlapping, so I can put this back on and see that my sequins are in the open areas there. And I think I did pretty good eyeballing this. Just check it again. So it shows in the open area, so that's what I'm going for. And now to attach this, because once I remove all of this tape, it's going to be really, really sticky. Well, on the inside, I'm going to remove all the backing from all of the pieces of the tape here. And then on the sides, I'll show you, I'm going to remove it partially, and I'm going to bend it to the side. So I'm going to go like this, start, and then bend it onto the outside. And I learned this little trick from, I don't remember who, but from one of the attendees at one of our events. And this is what I love about this hobby, about card making, about crafting, because we all learn from each other. So even when I go to teach classes, I still learn from participants of the classes. So this is a really amazing hobby, because there's always different things to do things, and there's always things to learn. So as you can see, the back end of the paper, I can grab it from the outside. So now I can line this up, and I'm trying to put it on the areas that are still covered with the back end paper. And I'm going to move it just off screen just a little bit so I can look at it from the top. So I'm going to do my best to line this up. So this is lined up right now. I'm going to hold it and I'm going to grab this pieces right here on the sides and pull it. And now it sits right there. So I'm going to still keep on holding it because it's not glued yet. Then I can carefully turn it and continue. And here it is. And here is our shaker. Isn't it awesome? So as you can see, it's not complicated. There's no reason to be intimidated by the shaker cards. Everything is doable. You just need to know how, and maybe you'll learn a few things here. Or maybe there's a better way to do it, and if you think there is, I would love to hear it, because as I said, we all learn from each other. So the shaker part is done. Now I have the postage or postmark die right here. I die cut it from red cardstock. I'm gonna push the little pieces that still stayed in the die right there. Region, that's okay if you miss the beginning, because you can, once we're done, it's gonna stay on the page and you can watch the replay, and then we're gonna move on to the second card, so that if you're gonna stay, you can watch that from the beginning. Okay, so the postmark die is gonna go right here, and I have it kind of overlapping. I think it adds more interest right there, and I can use my liquid glue for that. I'll use some scrap piece of paper. See, yep, so it's coming easily. And this is glue by Art Glitter, and this one is called Dries Clear. And it dries clear, just like the name of it. They have another one that it's more like milky color, but I know like most of us crafters for like card making and scrapbooking and everything else that we do, most of us use this kind of glue. And again, this is the glue I just started using I think last year, and I learned it at I think it's Memories for the Making store in Lodi. That's where a lot of ladies were using this glue, and it looks like it was so easy. Some of them come, and on some of them you might have to purchase this little nib separate, but it's really awesome glue. And then it comes with the little push pin that you put when you're not using glue, so it doesn't dry out the opening. So I'm going to put it to the side here, like so, and then my little koala would go on the front. And the sentiment here, I think I put wrong koala. I think I put the wrong one here because it has sending hug sentiment, so this koala is supposed to go here. So I printed this koala separate and my little sentiment separate, and I just cut around the sentiment like so, and then glued it onto the side. The other thing I'm going to show you is this card, now we're going to do the inside. And actually I didn't cut my white layer, so let me grab the paper really quick. And I believe this layer, let me see, now I don't have my measurements. I'm going to measure this layer so I can give you the measurement for that as well. And I'm going to cut it off screen. So the red cardstock is 5 1/8 by 5 1/8, so I'm going to cut this layer 5 by 5. Okay, so here's my 5 by 5 layer, and the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my scoring board again, but this time we're going to create an embossed frame. And if you watched some of my tutorials, this is the thing that I do on pretty much all of my cards on the inside. It's just the little embossed frame that goes all the way around, and it adds another element of interest. So I'm going to put my layer on the scoring board, and I'm going to use 1/8 of an inch measurement, and I'm going to start a little bit off the top and then finish a little bit off the bottom, and I'm going to go all the way around like so. It just takes a minute, well less than a minute, but it adds, I believe, adds so much to our cards, so I don't mind taking time to do it. So if you can see, I don't know how the light hits it, but it gives, so I did the scoring on this side, so when I turn it over, then it gives me embossed frame all the way around. Now also, before I put my scoring board aside, I'm going to show you how to create this element right here. And this is where you can put another layer, you can put photos if you're keeping in touch with your family right now, you want to send them some pictures, so you can put them tucking in here. So I think it's kind of cute and fun element. And this is from the same set of the Build a Frame die. So we use the smaller size for the frame all the way around, and this is the larger one. So this is what we're going to be using here. And I scored it, I put it, first of all, I put it into my scoring board like so. Let me move this a little bit, I don't think you can see it. Am I in frame now? Trying to see on the top, and I think my phone that I'm using for recording is actually showing me it's low on battery, so I'm going to quickly plug it in. Here you go. So I'm putting this layer into my scoring board, so let me see, so this side is vertical, so it matches the size or the line on the scoring board. And I'm going to use, you can actually, this really doesn't matter, you can do 1/2 inch, I think I'm going to do 3/4 of an inch, just going to fold easier. So just doesn't really matter how much, because it's just going to go lower or higher, it's just going to be longer or shorter here. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So just line this up straight with the lines on your scoring board, and then score it. I think I scored it a little bit too much on here, but that's okay. As I said, it doesn't matter. It's going to be folded to the back. And then we're going to fold it, and this will give us a little bend. So my red layer and my white layer for the inside, I'm going to attach them first. This is what we're working on right now. I can remove my other layer right from here. So this is the white layer that I did the embossed frame look using my scoring board. I'm going to attach it here. Then I have this little piece of the printed paper, the designer paper, and this is the same paper as I used on the front, my little pink polka dots. And before I put this on, I'm going to kind of put it in the center, and on this card, see how I have a little bit of it's in the center, so it doesn't go all the way down. So I'm going to hold it like this, and I'm just going to use my scissors and trim it down, try to keep the same angle as the side that we made, that we folded, and the same on the other side, like this. So a little embellishment there. I'm going to put it aside for now, and I'll glue it once I glue this on. So now I'm going to grab my piece that I have folds on, and I'm gonna move it all the way when it's nice and even. So just push it all the way until it sits evenly on the sides there. Then I'm gonna hold it and I'm going to turn this layer upside down. Now I can unfold each side here and then fold it back. So just double checking that it's nice and snug there. Unfold this, put adhesive here, fold this back, and here it is. So as you can see, it's a little shorter, so you can do the less of the scoring you do on the sides, the longer this piece is going to be and the higher it's going to go. So you can kind of decide which way you want it to be. And now I'm going to glue this little piece of paper to coordinate, to embellish it a little more, or you can leave it just white like that, however you prefer. So this goes here, cute. And now I'm going to add it to the inside of my card. Now my card, well, you can see already I put the postage stamp or postmark stamp here on this side. So this is something that you would actually have to decide when you're gluing this. My cards most of the time would open on the top like so, and the reason I like to do it is because when we put the cards onto the display boards, it stays closed even like this. If I put the card on like so, then it tends to open. Even if I try to glue it together, it still kind of wants to open. So this is just my preference, and it looks cute displayed like this. It's just kind of keeps on opening this way. But if this is your preference, if you like your cards to open this way, there's nothing wrong. There's always more than one way to do things. So then you would just have your postmark stamp on this side, and then when you glue it, you would glue your layer like so. So this is on the side. But since my card opens on the top, I'm going to glue my layer like so. And again, just using my dry adhesive. Oh, and I didn't mention the one that I like, my preference is the Glue Glider Pro. It comes as a handle, and then this is the refill. And the one that I'm using, I don't know if you can see it, kind of like little dots. And this one is called Value Tech. This is the refill, and then refills come like this, and then you just slide it in. And it's very easy to exchange it. You don't have to wind something, open, close. It just slides like that. And then when you store it, or if you're going to craft somewhere to preserve so the glue doesn't attach to anything, you can store it like this. So just a little show and tell for you here. So I'm going to add some adhesive here and put this in, center it, and voila, my card is done. It's just missing my little koala, but he is right here on this card, so you can see how the finished card looks like. Cute. So now let's finish completely with this card. Let's do the envelope as well. So if you are following here from the coloring video, that's where I give you all of the measurements. The layer for the envelope is 8.5 by 8.5. And I'm going to bring my scoring board here to show you how we're going to score it. I have my little cheat sheet or my template that I made already. So this is what it's going to look like. It's, as I mentioned, 8.5 by 8.5 square, and I used the same paper that I used to make my card. We're going to score it diagonally. So first I'm going to, I hope you can see the full scoring board on the screen. I'm going to use 6-inch measurement right here as my reference point. I'm gonna see if I can turn it a little more so you can see it. And then I'm going to kind of go down and note where it ends. So this is my 6.5 inches on the bottom. I know you probably can't see it in the video, but I hope you understand. So I'm just holding my finger here where the 6 inches line is, and I'm going to line up the top of my paper diagonally at 6 inches mark on the top right here, and then where I'm holding my finger where the 6 inches is on the bottom. So I'm going to line it up like this, and I'm going to hold it in place, and then I'm going to do 2 scores. I'm going to score one at 3 1/8, and then on the other side at 8 7/8. So I'm going to find my 3 1/8 here. So there's 3 inches, then 1/8. There's 3 1/4. So the 3 1/8 is the one in between them. And I'm going to go ahead and score here. And then on the other side, I'm going to look for my 8 7/8. So 9 inches is right here, and the little one before 3/4, so it's between 3/4 and 9. That's my 8 7/8. And I'm going to score it right here. And then I'm going to do the 180 degrees and do the same thing. So again, I'm going to see where my 6 inches line ends, and I'm just going to hold my finger there, or my nail there. Then I'm going to line up my 6 inches corner on one side and make sure that my other corner is also on the same line. And I'm going to do the same score, so 3 1/8, and then 8 7/8. Okay. So now when I do this, I hope you can see it. This created little triangles in each corner right there. I'm going to fold it first because it will be easier for us to see. Now I just need to find where I put my bone folder. Here it is. So I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm just going to go like butter spreading motion on all 4 sides. Here it is. If you want to try, like, you can put your card here, and you can see it has about 1/8 of an inch on each side on the folds there. Now, to make it easier for us to fold it, because it's pretty thick cardstock and the folds are pretty thick right there, we're going to cut into these triangles. So our little triangles on each intersection on the outside, I'm actually going to start, so the triangle, maybe I'll mark it with the pencil. It might be easier to see. So this is where my score line is. Those are my score lines. I'm going to cut on the outside of this line, but then meet it in the corner. So I'm cutting a little bit more off, but meeting these lines on the corner. So if I were to show you this triangle, you can see where my pencil marked lines are, and my opening is a little bit wider. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing on all 4 sides. Cut those triangles out by giving it a little bit more space. And I think it's great to make your own envelopes, because then you don't have to go, especially right now, you don't have to go and search for the right size of the envelope. You can just make your own. Our card measures 5.5 by 5.5, so this is the envelope you can use for all of your 5.5 by 5.5 cards. Now, before I close this, again, I want to put my card in and just kind of want to double check. I think the sides are going to go in first, and then this is going to close here. And you can see how nice and clean this looks on the sides now by us cutting those little triangles the way we did. So I'm going to use double-sided tape, and I'm using score tape, and this is 1/4 inch, and I'm going to add it on the bottom flap right here. I'm just going to add it all the way on one side and then on the other side. like so. And I went a little bit out of the side here, so I'm going to use my scissors just to trim it so there's no extra glue or extra adhesive hanging there. Just make it nice and clean. Here you go. So now when I close it, instead of closing it just like this and having it flat, I'm going to actually put my card back, and that will ensure that we have this space, right? So it's thicker, the card has dimension. Make sure that it fits right there. So I can even put a little piece of tape. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of piece of tape on the corner right here where they overlap, but making sure I don't put too much. I think I put too much and it's going to go on my card. So I'm just going to see how I just rubbed it off, so it's really easy to remove it. I'm just going to try. I'm going to do this way. I think I'm just going to put it on the very corner and then cut the excess off. I think that will be better in this case. Like this. So now my card is staying inside. Center it, close this flap, remove this adhesive here. Not adhesive, remove the backing from adhesive. Close these two corners. And now I'm going to remove backing paper from the bottom flap and close this. Just kind of watch your corners and then just let this sit right there. And see, so now I can move my card out and see how it has this space. So we created kind of like a pocket for our card, and it easily goes in. And then when you're ready to close it, you can do the same. You can put score tape or other adhesive. I would use dry adhesive. I would use score tape probably, because I don't want to, probably wouldn't want to do the liquid glue just to make sure it doesn't get anywhere on my card. And because you're going to put it into the mail, the score tape is very strong adhesive, so that will ensure that your card or your envelope doesn't get open in transition in the mail for your friend or family, for your recipient. And then of course here is the other side, and you can stamp on it if you like to. You can, of course, you're going to write your to and from, your postage stamp is going to go there, and this is ready to be mailed. So that was pretty quick, as you can see, and of course, again, I'm just, showing you and I'm talking, so it takes a little longer, but it is a very easy card to make. Are we ready for the second card? Ready for this little guy here? Let's do it. So for this card, we have layers right here. And this card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. My card base is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4 to create my card base. 4 1/4 right here. Now I'm going to fold it. And we got our card. Paula is asking what kind of cardstock and with the texture, and if we have it in the store. This is the, I believe it's 80 or maybe even 90 pound textured white cardstock, and I've been using it for white cardstock mostly because the other ones that I could find are thinner, or they feel thinner. Maybe the texture makes this feel more substantial. We do not have it in the store right now, but I think we're going to go ahead and add it. Maybe I'll do it even tonight, because it will be, I think it will be easier for you if you're shopping, if you need to shop, because as I said, we're still shipping, so we're mailing your orders out, and we're mailing them out as quick as we can to ensure that you have some craft supplies to play with and to occupy your time. So look, look today, tonight, or maybe tomorrow if you don't see it, it will be in the same category as the chipboard. So when you go to look for on our website, look for craft supplies. So we have the gold cardstock there right now, and we have the chipboard. So I'm going to add this textured white cardstock there as well for you all if you need it. So okay, so our first card is done. I'm going to kind of move it off the screen. So we have this card here now we're working on. My next layer, I have 2 layers of the red cardstock, and it's 5 by 3 3/4. I have 2 of them. We're going to start on the front of the card, and then we'll do the inside. You're welcome, Paula. Then for my second layer, I have my paper, designer paper, and this is from the Love You More paper pack, and I'm using different prints. So this one looks like this. Our card is going to look, this card we're making is a little different, so you can choose, pick and choose. They're all mix and match kind of designs in this paper pack. So I'm going to go ahead and attach these 2 together. And you can see I could have used this blue one, but kind of opted for pink with gold there. And our papers, if you haven't used our papers yet, they are printed on the 80-pound cover stock, so they are thicker, and they're really awesome for die cutting as well. And that's what we do a lot. Not for this card. I die cut the pennants here from the paper, and it also has a little bit of the sheen to it, so it looks a little bit like dressier, I guess, if that makes sense. So this goes on here. Then I'm going to grab one of these long ones from the Build a Frame, the long one, and I'm going to use it as a little embellishment here for our telephone and for our little koala to stand on. So I'm going to attach it about 1/4 inch from the bottom, about 1/4 inch from the end here. And I can even trim it right now, I think. So I'm going to turn it and trim this little end. And then I can just go ahead and line it up and glue it. So from here and straight across the layer. So it creates little embellishment. And then I have 2 pennants die cut here, and again I use different papers from the same paper pack. And these are the dies like this. It actually comes as a set of 3. There's also a smaller one, but I use the largest one and the middle size for these die cuts. And I'm going to line them up to the top of my red cardstock there, and line them up how you prefer. I like to line things up on my cards first to see where they need to go, and then I'll kind of eyeball and see how far from the side I need to go, and then I can glue them on. So this one was about 1/2 inch from the side there. So this goes on, and then the smaller one on the side of it. Overlapping like so. Cute. Now I think I'm going to put it on my card base and then add other elements. So I don't know if you can see, but this is actually lifted like this. So I have you can do it flat if you prefer, but I kind of like it a little bit lifted on the card. You can use this is 1/8, no, I think it's 3 millimeter. That's how they do it, foam, and this is just something you could find in the craft stores. And I can cut it like so, or if you don't have that, you can just use your foam tape or square foam dots or whatever 3D pop-up dots you have, and just line that up, line the layer with those to pop it. When I'm using foam like this. This one doesn't have any adhesive, so I would have to glue it onto my layer. And what I find also that it's much easier with at least with the dry adhesive like this, to put adhesive onto the cardstock instead of trying to put it onto the foam. It just works easier. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this on the inside, and I'm kind of stepping it in a little more because my layer doesn't go all the way to the sides of this layer. And then I can go ahead and sit it on here, just center it like so. And then this layer is going to go on my card. Now a few things. Now, because I already have my flags, I need to make sure that my card opens the right way. I don't want it to go upside down. So I'm double checking how my card opens. And then I'm going to kind of see where my foam is going to go, kind of eyeball how much on the inside I need to add the layer of adhesive here. So I'm kind of stepping in about 1 inch from each side for this. And then this goes on like so. And it really lifts this panel off the base of the card and adds it more interest. Now, I just wanted to mention for those of you who might be new to card making, let me grab the piece of the cardstock, just the 8.5 by 11. This is 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So this is, oops, sorry, hit my knee on the table, kind of shaking the camera, sorry. So this is 8.5 by 11 cardstock. The way I cut this is I cut it in half like so. So at 5.5, and it gives me 2 card bases that open this way. If I were to cut it at 4.25 and half vertically this way, then I would have the card that opens the other way. So then the card can open this way. So there are 2 different ways to do it. If you're new to card making, I would say try either way and see which way you like it better. And sometimes I do it like this, or if you cut it like so, if you want your card to open this way, that will be your vertical card like this. So you can do it different ways. So it just gives you another option. Okay, so the next thing, we're going to assemble our telephone, and this is one of our newer dies, and it's called this one is called retro telephone. We have another one that's called vintage telephone, so this one is retro. And I have a die cut from black cardstock and from red cardstock. I have 2 layers, and then I have little die cut from yellow cardstock. We're going to keep our black one untouched, so this is going to be our base. And then on the red one, we're going to cut off the cord, the phone cord, so we're just going to go and cut it off where it meets the telephone, like this. So this is cut this apart. Then I'm going to cut on the bottom of the telephone this little legs or feet. We're just going to keep the line straight of the bottom of the telephone and cut those little pieces off. And the next thing, right here where the stitching is on the receiver of the phone, the stitching on each side, we're going to cut it along this side, along the stitching. So just going to cut these pieces off on each side, like so. And we don't need those little pieces, so you can toss them, or I've actually seen in one of my classes somebody was using this little cord for something else. So if you want to keep this little piece here, it's cute, you can use it for something else, for little embellishment. So to line up our telephone, we're going to glue the red one onto the black. See how cute that looks? Now I'm going to grab my liquid adhesive again and just add some here. And then this goes onto the base. onto my black die cut. I just love how this looks. Line this up, cute. And then my little dial goes on. If you're not sure which way to put the dial, I don't know if you can see it, but if you have this die cut, you should be able to see it. So there is a little embossed line on the circle here on the inside. Trying to see if I can position it the way you can see it. So there is a little piece that comes in like that on the embossing, and that's where your dial goes. Or for those of you who actually were fortunate to use this type of phone, you probably remember where the dial starts. So this goes right here. And the other cute detail about this little telephone, see how it shows this little heart inside of the dial? Isn't it cute? So adorable. So my little phone is gonna go right here, and then my KOALA is going to go on the side of it. And this is the KOALA this is exact one that we colored during the live color along. If you missed that, you can go back after this video, you can go back and scroll down onto the bottom of the page, and you can see it there. So you can use either liquid adhesive or you can use dry adhesive on this. Position your elements first how you like them. So our little telephone is standing right here on our line, and then you can add your KOALA. And I just added with the adhesive, but you can pop it up if you want to. I just think it probably would be too much, a little bit too much, since we have our whole panel lined up with the foam tape. But if you glue that flat, then you can pop your panda. Then on the inside, we're going to do pretty much the same way as we did for the other card. So first, I'm going to grab my white layer, and I know it's going to show here, but this is a sample card, so this is okay. So I have the same size layer for the as we used on the front, and that's 3 3/4 by 5, this layer, the red layer. And then my white layer is the same size as our printed paper on the front, so that's 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. So ignore the shadowing here from the marker that when I was writing the size. As I said, this is just the sample, so I'm not going to worry about it. And then we're going to use 1/8 of an inch. Where am I going? 1/8 of an inch on each side, and I'm starting a little bit of the top and ending a little bit of the bottom, and creating this embossed kind of frame all the way around. So when I turn it, oops, I did the other way, but that's okay. As I said, it's a sample, so ignore this. So we have this little frame all the way around, and then I would glue it onto my red cardstock. And then we'll do our little element here. So you have more space to tuck in a note or photographs, whatever you prefer. So a quick reminder, we're going to line up the side of the die cut, make it straight on your scoring board, and score it. I'm going to do this one 1/2 inch. But as I said on the first one, that really doesn't matter because it just will be different size. So if you do it more, if you do more than 1/2 inch, if you do 1 inch, if you do 3 3/4, it just will make it shorter. So it really doesn't matter. It will just be different size. So now I'm going to fold it to the back. Oops. Use my bond folder for on the folds. Then I have the little piece, skinny piece cut, and this is 3/8 of an inch for the embellishment here. And on this card, I went all the way to the end of this layer. So I'm just going to snip it on each side here, just to make sure my ends are correct at the correct angle, like this. So cute. So now I'm going to grab my inside layers, the red and white glued together, and I'm going to position this on, just slide it all the way. Sliding it all the way, making sure it's nice and flat here. Then hold it, turn it to the other side, open each end individually, close it, open this, adhesive, close it. Cute. So that gives us little bend here, bend. You understand what I'm saying, right? Now glue our little layer here to finish this off, and that coordinates with our front of the card. Cute. And now I can go ahead and glue this layer on the inside. I appreciate you all being here with me to watch this card making kind of tutorial. If you join a little late, you can go back and watch the replay. After we're done with the live, I'll keep this video on our page, so it will stay there. Or even if you were watching and you need reference, if you need to go back and watch it again, some parts of it you'll actually will be able to rewind it to the parts where you need it. Now let's make an envelope for this card. We're going to start with the same size cardstock, so it's 8.5 by 8.5. I'm just going to use this layer, and we're going to do exactly the same way. We're going to line it up at 6 inches diagonally. So again, I'm going to find my 6 inches on the bottom, line up one corner at 6 inches on the top, and make sure my other corner that's on the opposite end lines up on the same line, so keeping it straight. And then I'm going to score it at 3 1/8 and 8 7/8. So the same measurement as we used is one of the measurements that we used on our other card, or on our other envelope. So the first one is the same measurement, 3 1/8 and 8 7/8. Now when I turn it and do the same line again, my 6 inches, I'm going to mark it with the marker, or with the what's the called, the permanent marker. I'm going to mark my 6 inches, so then I don't have to check it all the time if I mark it on the bottom. So line it up again on the same line. And now this card, the first card was square, so the measurements were the same. This card is rectangular, so we're going to use different measurement on the other sides. And our measurements are 3 3/4 and 8 1/4. So I'm going to find my 3 3/4 on the top here and score this, and then 8 1/4 on the other side. So as you can see, this gives us the rectangle in the center. So now when you put our card like this, it fits right in, and it gives us again about 8 7/inch on each side. We are going to cut out our triangles just like we did on the first card, and I find it helpful to fold it first, especially if you're using white cardstock, or if you're using like printed paper, you might be using that. If it's busy design, it's just easier to see it once you have it folded. And then when I unfold it, I'm going to cut it out again in the same manner. So I'm going to show you. So this is where my score lines meet, this triangle right here. So I'm going to cut it on the inside. So I'm going to leave a little, like maybe 1/8 of an inch, or maybe even a little more on the outside of this line, but going to go right into the center right there. And I'm going to do the same in the same manner on each side, like so. And I'm going to do it on all 4 triangles the same way, like this. Cut them all out. And it will, if you can see that this has more overlap because this is bigger on one side. So when I close it, and again, I would recommend, I would suggest you have your card on the inside when you do it to ensure that you have enough give there. So you can kind of move your paper and do like so. So you can see it creates a little pocket. Now this corner right here, you can see it comes up. So this is something that it's up to you. If you don't mind it, it's totally fine to leave it like this, because then you're gonna close your envelope this way, right? So then it's gonna cover it anyways. But if you like to have it more clean look, you can kind of mark it a little bit where this corner is, and then you can either use the straight ruler and the craft knife. I don't have ruler handy here, so I'm not going to use that. Or you can use your cutter, paper cutter, to trim it. I'm just going to use my scissors and just hope for the best, I guess. Just cut it straight right there. And then when I close it, it should look like this. So it has a little bit more of the finished look. And then I'll do the same way. So I'll add the score tape on the sides of my bottom flap. And I'm going to keep it just on the side right here. I'm not going to add anything on the flat part. So just right here, all the way, like so. And then cut it. I'm going to cut off, making sure nothing comes out on the top and on the sides. Right here. I know I should have been using different scissors. These are my paper cutting, or the scissors that I use to cut out the images. So I try to keep it only for that, but that's okay. I'll clean them later. And then I can put my card back in, and as I said, keep the card in because this creates a pocket. And if you want to add a little bit of adhesive on the corner, just make sure it doesn't get on your card. I'm going to try to do this one without the corner. We'll see how it works. We'll see if I was doing too much there by adding it. So I'm going to keep this closed. And I already kind of worked my paper, so my corners are nice and clean. It overlaps nicely here, creates my little pocket. So now I can remove the paper. I can remove the backing paper off and go ahead and again just mine my corners there and close this. And yeah, I think that works. I don't think we actually need to worry about that little piece there. Once we add this on, it closed it nicely. Okay, so that works. Okay, so now you can see we created pretty much a pocket. It's not flat, and our card slides right in. And then when you're ready to mail it, you can add more adhesive here and simply close your envelope. So that is it. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know if you were making cards with me, but you can make them later. If you haven't colored your koala yet, you can get it for free on our website at lalalandcrafts.com. I'm just gonna put the cards here so you can see what we made. These were the card made before. This is the one that we made today. This one doesn't have a little koala because I only have 3 colored. So I'm gonna color another one so I can finish all of my cards. we made our envelopes. So this is been a lot of fun for me to be hanging out with you today so much. This is my third video of the day, so this is awesome. Thank you so much for spending time with me. So as I said, if you didn't get your KOALA yet, your free digital stamp of the KOALA, just go on our website, lalalandcrafts.com. You can get it there. Just click on DIGI stamps, scroll down, find where the KOALA is, add it to your shopping cart, and just proceed through the checkout. And it's free, so there's no payment needed. If you would like to get any of the other DIGI stamps, we have a variety of the digital stamps on our website. There are Marcy, Luca, Mona, Molly, there are different creators. So if you would like to get something else to color while you are at home, we have a sale going on right now. It started yesterday. It's valid through Monday, March 30th, and you get 50% off on all digital stamps in our online store. And the coupon code or promo code for that is DIGI50, DIGI50. So thank you all so much. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to do more. And this is all for now. Bye. Thanks again. Bye-bye.